Hello, my name is Dave Apsley. I'm a forester and a natural resources specialist with Ohio State University Extension. I'd like to take a little bit of time to talk to you about a resource that many of you might have on the farm, and that's your woodland. During these tough times with COVID, we know that folks are stressed financially, mentally, and you might be tempted to make a decision to harvest timber without really thinking the process through. Now, we're not here to talk you into selling timber or out of selling timber, but what we'd like you to do is just do your homework and get some help so that you can do it in a way that benefits you financially, but it also benefits your long-term goals and what you hope to get out of your woodlands for you and your family in the future. So before you harvest timber, we really hope you slow down and get some help. Maybe work with a forester. Your state service forester might be the person you initially contact to get some advice on deciding, okay, does it make sense to harvest timber? And they might encourage you to get a forest management plan or a woodland management plan to come up with some ideas and goals of what you'd like to accomplish, and then a plan of action on how to get there. But once you've decided to harvest timber, we highly recommend that you work with a consulting forester. These folks are trained and experienced to help you with the harvest. They can help you with the whole process. And typically what they would do would be to go through the woods and work with you to decide what kind of trees to harvest. Once you decide if a tree is to be harvested, you put a paint mark up here on the butt log, what we call it, and you put one down here at the stump. And then as you're doing that, you're making a tally or list of those trees. That forester would also, in that process, measure those trees. We're using a thing called a cruiser stick that has a Biltmore stick built in. This tree is about 24 inches in diameter. It's about 2 logs tall, so it would have about 370 board feet. So now we know we've got one red oak here. It's a northern red oak, 2 logs tall and 24 inches in diameter. We can actually come up with an estimate of its value. And if you go through the woods and decide what trees to harvest, you're going to make a list of trees that are for sale. It's kind of like an auction. How do you decide whether to go to an auction? Well, you're going to look at the sale bill. And this would be similar to the sale bill. We would have a list by species, size, and quality of what we're selling. And then we would mail that to potential buyers. At that point, they would have the opportunity to come out and look at your trees, and they could place a bid on those trees. Typically, we use a sealed bid process. You'll get all those sealed bids in. You'll work with your forester to decide which bid you're going to accept. You don't have to accept the highest bid. You might want to take into account the bid and also the reputation of the person that's putting in the bid or the company that's putting in the bid. Once you decide that, then you know the amount, and we call that a lump sum sale. Typically, with a lump sum sale, you would be paid in full before the trees are harvested. And that's a big benefit to you as a forest or as a landowner, because being paid in full prior to the harvest takes a lot of the financial risk out of it for you. It also, by using this process, it probably qualifies you for capital gains treatment when it comes to taxes. So your tax burden would be much less than it might be if you're selling the typical way that many folks do on shares or on a percentage. We really want to caution you about selling on shares as well, because there are lots of other implications with it. Not only tax implications, but some liability issues. And that selling on shares or selling by a percentage usually isn't in your best financial interest either. 50% is the common percentage that you would split with the logger. That may or may not be a good deal, but if you've got good quality trees in the woods, does it seem fair that the person harvesting them would get half of the value of that tree, where you've actually had it on your farm or on your property for maybe generations? You're paying taxes and you're working to keep that forest healthy. So again, if you're thinking about selling timber, we highly recommend you get some help. So we recommend a couple things. One, you might just start by taking advantage of a program we started here in Ohio called Call Before You Cut. Call Before You Cut has a web presence, and it also has an 800 number that you can call. If you call, we'll actually mail you a packet of information. Unfortunately, in these COVID times, we might have to email it to you or send it to you electronically. Or you can go online and look for these resources. And it just gives you lots of things to think about and places you can go to get help. We also have a directory of foresters that's out there that we can share with you so you can find a forester that's qualified to do the job. So again, your woodlands are a great resource on your land. We highly recommend that if you're going to sell timber, you get some help doing it, because it's really something you're only going to do once, if you're really lucky twice in your lifetime. So you want to slow down, take your time, and do it right. Thank you.
Hi, this is Johnny Schmidt, a National Tree Farmer of the Year. Like an old friend, your woodland has spent a lifetime with you. And if you've ever considered looking to your old friend for income, contact a professional forester and use a master logger. They'll help ensure you receive the best financial return while retaining the health of your woodland. Remember, call before you cut. For more information, call toll-free 877-424-8288. That number, 877-424-8288.